Hi everyone, my name is Kanso Hamza. I'm glad to be with you here today on my channel, Legal Mindset at the Bar. I urge you to subscribe, like the videos so that you can find them in next week's, next months, because they are going to be so helpful to you in your career, in your legal education. And our first session on this channel, we shall go straight forward to the case of WOOLMINGTON versus DPP, and we shall see the burden of proof, the principle laid down by the case. This case, I dedicate it to my dear 1-1 students. By the end of this session, you will be able to know the facts of the case, the issues of the case, and the court holding therein. Not wasting any time, I will go to the facts straightforward. The facts sound that Regno and WOOLMINGTON, a farm laborer, married a girl called Violet, a 17-year-old. Just 3 months after their marriage, Violet and WOOLMINGTON got some family wrangles. Violet decided to go and start living with her mother. WOOLMINGTON, knowing this, he rode a bicycle with a gun in his jacket to go convince his wife back into their marriage. He found his mother-in-law on the door and asked, "Good morning, in-law. Is my wife around?" She said, "She's just inside there." WOOLMINGTON entered the house. While in the house, quarrels started, and a gun rang out. And this is now we go to the court of first instance. And in the court of first instance, WOOLMINGTON was charged of murder. And the evidence was the mother of WOOLMINGTON said she had a gun ringing out of the room with wrangles therein. The court gave the burden to WOOLMINGTON to prove that he is innocent. In his words, WOOLMINGTON said, "I never wanted to harm her. I loved my wife so much. I just wanted to take her back home. And I wanted to threaten her that I will kill myself if she does not return. The gun fell down accidentally and shot her to death." Court found this evidence irrelevant and accused Regno and WOOLMINGTON of murder, and he was convicted and sentenced. While in prison, WOOLMINGTON decided to appeal to the House of Lords. And in the House of Lords, this is now where the burden of proof was laid down. A masterclass, a legal genius, Lord Sankey, laid down the principle of burden of proof. He held that through the web of English criminal law, one golden web is to be seen, that the burden of proof lies on prosecution to prove that the accused is guilty. That is the principle of burden of proof many of you have been hearing about. In his words, we get an knowledge, an idea, information that it is the duty of prosecution to prove that the accused is guilty. If you accuse anyone, the burden lies on you to prove that indeed they are guilty of what you accuse them of. So now, the duty, the burden fell on prosecution, and this principle is sounding much in many halls of justice. The case of WOOLMINGTON versus DPP set a precedent for all criminal cases. You know, you hear the burden of proof lies on prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt. That is the standard of proof. And anything which does not reach the standard of beyond reasonable doubt will lead to acquittal of the accused. If prosecution fails to prove their case at the standard of beyond reasonable doubt, the accused will be acquitted. Dear 1-1 students, when I say acquitted, it means the accused will be let to go. Now, we have had where the case of burden of proof came, where WOOLMINGTON versus DPP laid down a fundamental principle of burden of proof. And now I want you to know that the case did not only affect the fate of WOOLMINGTON versus DPP, but it also laid down a principle which is governing all criminal cases today, where the state has to prove its criminal cases. And I'm now going to share for you instances, cases where courts have failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt and the accused has been left to go. You go straight forward and look at the case of Uganda versus Dr. Agrechinji. And in that case, the late now, Dr. Agrechinji, was accused for killing his wife. But in his words, Agrechinji said, "I was not at the scene of crime when my wife was being killed. He was abroad. He was not in Uganda." And court told the prosecution, prove that the accused is the one who killed the deceased. However, prosecution failed to prove that the accused, Agrechinji, was at the scene of crime and he was acquitted. Now, the relevance of the case, WOOLMINGTON versus DPP, and the burden of proof itself. This case has helped to have free and fair judgments. It has shaped us, our legal systems, indeed. That's all about today's video. I urge you to share, like, subscribe, and comment where you feel you're not satisfied. Let's catch up in our next video. Thank you very much.